Black holes and other scary things like love. The Grim Reaper is always creeping up on me. Trouble in paradise is such a funny phrase, but truthfully, it's been my reality as of late. My boyfriend and I have been together for a little over a year and a half, and our honeymoon phase has taken a 180 into a bit of a fighting rut, if you will. Coming into this new year was a lot. Both of us had been feeling stressed out as individuals, which until you learn how to manage and sort through your own emotions, it usually will have negative impact on your partner. As soon as relationships get real, things get hard, and you actually realize that it is in fact going to take work. It feels so much harder to just think, well, fuck this shit, I'm out. I can't speak for him, but if I'm being honest, that's where it felt like both our heads started to stray. So naturally, I went to the bookstore and bought us all of these different books to read, as well as started to listen to more podcasts to better myself, which is honestly just exhausting. However, one of them actually inspired a small breakthrough and got me thinking a lot differently about the fear of commitment that was starting to infiltrate my brain. I was listening to a podcast with Esther Perel. If you don't know who she is, I would describe her as a forward-thinking therapist who specializes in relationships and has one of the most satisfying speaking voices to listen to ever. If you haven't heard her before, I'd recommend giving her a listen. She has her own podcast and has been a guest on many others. Anyways, she said something that encapsulated what had been at the root of one of my anxieties, as well as what I was scratching the surface of in Black Hole Swimming Pool. I'm going to try my best to paraphrase the essence of her words. When you're in a relationship, there's essentially two choices you make: to stay in the relationship or to leave the relationship. As many of us know, breakups are so devastating and result in feeling tremendous grief, wondering what could have been, or if they really were your person, or if you just tried a little harder, maybe it could have been saved. All of the what ifs are possible with that scenario, but what no one really talks about or even knows to acknowledge is the fact that there is grief in staying in a relationship. Wondering what other paths life could have taken you down, but instead making a choice for this one. Grieving the person you could have been or become outside of the relationship. As soon as Esther said that, it was like everything clicked for me. I had never thought to look at being in a relationship that way. Normally, we associate grief with a negative connotation, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad thing. Grief just means change, something that we as humans absolutely can't handle but forget is happening literally all the time. In writing Black Hole Swimming Pool, I had started to poke at the idea of grieving yourself while being in love without even realizing. The Grim Reaper is creeping up on me was essentially me toying with the idea that by being in a relationship to a certain degree, I'm forever mourning the person I was or could be. Relationships will change you, but that change doesn't mean you're not you anymore. It just means you're growing and evolving into something new. Everything around us is moving constantly. So how can we possibly expect anything about ourselves to stay the same? I mean, we literally grow old externally. I guess nowadays no one wants to age anymore. We've come up with every treatment under the sun to prevent wrinkles, frown lines, and smile lines, essentially trying to cover up proof that we've lived a life. By the way, I'm definitely not trying to shame people for doing what they need to do to feel beautiful, but I am throwing shade at us as a society for allowing us to think that aging isn't a beautiful thing. You're probably wondering why I'm now talking about aging and how that has anything to do with Black Hole Swimming Pool. For me, it's just an example of us avoiding grief. Growing old means needing to grieve yourself, but if you can make yourself appear young still, then that means you're still young. It's living in denial to a certain degree. By allowing myself to feel grief for the person I could become outside of my relationship, it left space for the joy I feel to get to know the person I'm becoming in my relationship. People are mirrors. They show and teach you things you might be too afraid to look at it on your own. I look forward to continuing to learn about myself through my loving boyfriend. I also look forward to helping him continue to learn and grow. I would rather fight about things until we get those things right than never fight because we no longer care to evolve. Relationships are beautiful because both parties are coming to the table with their own fears, issues, and baggage. For example, I'm coming into my relationship with the fear of losing myself, and my boyfriend is coming into the relationship with the fear of losing me. I feel like it's both of our duties to teach one another that our fears will always be in the room. In fact, they will pull up a seat at the table at times and whisper devilish things in our ears. I think the coolest part is learning to see them and acknowledge their presence, yet continuing to move forward as though they don't matter. Because that's all we can do. Maybe eventually they'll leave the room, only to become a faint memory you see every once in a while when you look up out the window. Someday you won't even recognize them, and you'll find yourself asking, who's that girl tapping on the window outside? There's a reason why all anyone wants is to love and be loved. It's just another way of feeling understood. It makes life more interesting, more difficult, more fun, more colorful, more work, more peaceful, more everything.